Now finally, I've said number one, cut programs to balance the budget. Number two, send programs back to states where we cap their growth rate but let states manage those programs in the way they think best. And the third thing to do is to make the government that remains, that government itself, has to be more efficient. And I'm going to shrink the size of the federal workforce, initially by 10% through attrition. And then I'm going to link the pay of government workers with the pay that exists in the private sector. I don't think public servants should get paid more than the taxpayers who are paying for them. Now, this is a plan to get America back on track. Talked about tax policy, lowering tax rates to create growth. Talked about entitlement reform, so our balance sheet gets fixed. Spoken about deficit reduction by cutting spending, cutting programs out, sending programs back to the states, and making government more efficient. But I also want to take just a moment to think about Michigan, what it takes to get Michigan on track, in addition to what's happening at the national level. And that, of course, revolves in many respects around the auto industry. For Michigan to be strong and vital, the auto industry has to be growing and thriving. I hope we learn lessons from the experiences of the past. In my view, the industry got in trouble because the UAW asked for too much, management gave too much and made other mistakes, and the government CAFE standards hurt domestic automakers and provided a benefit to some of the foreign automakers. By the way, the result of those missteps was a cost penalty per car of about $2,000. And I'll tell you, even the best designers and engineers in the world, and they're here, could not overcome that kind of cost disadvantage without the customer being able to tell. And so as we look forward, it's important that the UAW takes care not to impair the long-term future of the industry. And CAFE standards have to be worked out between government and the private sector so they don't become overly burdensome and put our domestic manufacturers at a disadvantage. And the companies, they've got to invest in new technology and take advantage of the massive new markets. The largest markets in the world are going to be Indonesia and Brazil and China and India. We should get, by the way, we should get the government out of General Motors so that the future of that company is determined by the demands of the marketplace, not by the preferences of bureaucrats in Washington. Detroit shouldn't just be the motor city of America. It's got to be the motor city of the entire world. And I want to make sure that happens.